Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for April 27th, 28th, 2020. How are you doing? Well, we are still feeling this very powerful Sun-Uranus conjunction. The Sun has moved on. It's 1 degree beyond Uranus, but they're still very close. And this is bringing home some really powerful realities around who we are. And so a lot is coming up right now around facing the truth for these souls. So much happening, this world situation, bringing forward deep and profound energies of where we haven't been able to live our truth, where we've had to, over lifetimes, pretend we're something different than who we are in order to survive. That's this Chiron and Aries energy. And so the sun is in Taurus is in coming into an exact semi-sextile, one sign over from Chiron and Aries. So it's like we've got this Sun-Uranus conjunction and then Sun semi-sextile Chiron being like, okay, who are you really and where have you been who you're not? And how do we bridge the gap between that, right? And it's really hard because it's been lifetimes of you being in denial of who you are and your true spiritual self. And there's deep, profound grief there that has to be addressed if you're going to uncover who you are. Except for that we aren't our grief and we aren't our stories. We are pure consciousness. So what we're being asked to do right now is to fully embrace the bigger, wider truth of who we are as consciousness. These soul groups that first, before anything exists, it's consciousness. That's the I am. Then you add the things, right? So I am, that's energy, that's the word, right? And then creation happens. So we're really stuck in, the bigger lies and delusions that the world is facing right now have to do with where we've been told who we're not in the collective, right? The materialism, the focus on the physical and the earth, and just like constant energies going against our connection to our spiritual origins and our spiritual self. The message that the lies that are coming forward right now are like, oh, that's not real. That's not powerful. That doesn't have any. So this is these energies that are coming up, and we'll talk about why this is happening astrologically, but it's like this just really dark distortions that have happened over lifetimes to you these soul groups, to disconnect you from your greater path and purpose very deliberately. And then how do we get back to that? And we're being asked to do it right now. And yet just we're in this weird time in between time where, there's just this strange things happening on the planet. And yet we're being asked to drop lifetimes of bullshit in an instant, in a way, right? But what if we could? What if we could, right? Because the time is now. So a lot of the messages coming through right now have to do with taking the opportunity you're being given right now. And that means different things for different people, but like letting everything be an opportunity. And it's really hard because it's like we're being faced with these. If you're conscious at all, the collective consciousness is off the charts right now. Like if you're sensitive being, it's just like a constant battle to stay in where you want to be in your consciousness versus what's going on in the collective soup, right? And then we've been taught that that's our purpose, and our path is to go down into the soup, right? And yet it's just becoming too dense and too intense down there. And so the opportunity we're being given, which is different for everybody, but through these, definitely the world situation, is to go to this consciousness, the truth of consciousness, the power of consciousness is here before everything else. And this is a story that's playing out, and I'm seeing like these souls just get really sucked into lower paradigm energies because of unresolved things from past lives that are keeping you feeling responsible, and loyalty contracts and all that stuff we've talked about, right? And so there's just this huge energy of understand, like, so the message is that understand that it's like a big pile up of unresolved stuff from past lives, right? And the whole agenda of everything that's happened to you in these past lives is about disconnecting you from who you really are and the power of your consciousness. And so if we have a kind of a sense of like, oh, there's a pile up of stuff from past lives, and that's, that those stuff things happen, but it's not who I am. And I'm going to take this opportunity to take off all of that and be that pure consciousness and be in the power of that pure consciousness. So that's kind of the message coming through. But the reason why this is coming up so much is because today we're starting to feel a very powerful transit, just so intense. I've been studying it, and this has to do with the Venus retrograde that's coming up. So we're getting closer to this Venus retrograde, and it's like Venus is our love, what makes us feel good, what we like, what's comfortable, like what our self-worth, our core level values. And Venus retrogrades are never that comfortable ever, and have to do with a rearranging of our core level values around love and what matters to us and our own self-worth. And now Venus retrograde in Gemini is interesting because Gemini represents communication and concepts and duality, trying to overcome duality of the forces within us. It's the twins, right? So it's the male and the female, it's the child, it's the adult. It's like everywhere where we're at war with ourselves and overcoming those. And of course, where we're at war, humanity, I think, is coming to the surface where we're at war with the other, right? And humanity needs to come together and be like, oh, no, like we all want the same thing here. Actual true humans, true living, breathing, empathic, emotional, sensitive humans, right? And we've got this invisible enemy energy that is been, not human, that's working against our evolution. So very powerful things around this Venus retrograde. But the Venus retrograde is turning retrograde right near a square with Neptune in Pisces. Now, Neptune in Pisces is a very powerful energy of Pisces, a Piscean age. It's about, in this case, we're looking at Venus, what we love, our conceptual reality, what makes us feel good in our beliefs, right? And then those being massively challenged, right? So and then the North Node is moving into Gemini. So the combination of Venus retrograde in Gemini, now Venus squares up to Neptune as it's turning, just before it turns, and then just after. So the exact energies of Venus, and I'm going to do a video on the Venus retrograde, but from the 20th to the 22nd, Venus squares Neptune the first week of May, the 4th and 6th exact of May, and then the 20th, 22nd through the 22nd of May. But the whole month of May, basically, yeah. So starting today, all the way to the end of May, we're feeling this transit. And it's like so intense. And then the North Node moving over into the sign of Gemini on the 6th. And this is all saying that, because the North Node is like, okay, how are we going to get to where we're going, humanity? And it's like, we are absolutely stuck in the birth canal because we can't face the lies and the delusions. And for you souls, and this Venus retrograde and square Neptune is these delusions of the past age, delusions of the dark ages of how you've been treated in your past lives, and also this life. And it's a powerful energy coming forward here as we move into this Venus square Neptune, of having to face some really dark places within us where we bought into fake love, where we bought into fake security, where we gave our power over, because we've still got this massive Capricorn energy on the table. It's really all about Pluto and Capricorn trying to break down the structures of our world that can't support us in the new energies. And yet the message right now, because Pluto just turned retrograde, right? And so it's like, okay, it's got one more, today is its last day at 25 degrees. It's going to go back to 24 degrees. And so it's like we went as far as we can on the destruction of the old patterns and the old structures that are not supportive of who we are in the new era. And the reason why we can't go further is because we're still believing in the lies. And that's this Venus retrograde square Neptune for a whole month. North Node moving into Gemini. And so it's a really intense time. But for you souls specifically, these soul groups, it has to do with this pattern. What's coming up is that potentially this might have to do with a pattern over lifetimes where a very deliberate forces have worked against you by just control energy based love. And you think that's love, but it's actually toxicity. And it's all about disconnecting you from your true purpose, from your path, from your ability to take care of yourself, from your self-worth, from your intuition. And it's really hard to realize these things. And typically it takes maybe a series of difficult relationships in this lifetime. But we're going back to that original message, is that keep in mind that you're undoing a whole pile of lifetimes, right? Oftentimes I'll get this message when I see this in past life pictures. It's like 10 lifetimes where you've had these same people, karmic relationships with the same people. These are your family members and intimate partnerships, typically, where their specific purpose is to keep you from your purpose. And then you kind of have to be like, when you really step back and it's like, oh, that's sad for them, right? And no wonder we have, your souls are so compassionate. And that's what got you into this mess, right? And it's time for us to be in the power of that compassion and live in the power of consciousness. That this consciousness is so beautiful. We're here. We are an expression of this consciousness, which is pure love, and it's way more powerful than any control, any lies, any stories, right? And and maybe that can validate you, like, oh my gosh, like a whole group of souls and like all of this energy has got what I've seen, the targeted souls, like what the money and resources that's gone in to keep you from who you are. Can you let that validate you and like get up off the ground and be in that pure consciousness, like even for a minute? It's not easy because there's no support for it right now, and everything's working against it. And yet we know, we can feel that the lower matrix is being dismantled. And it's really hard because it's like, this is the trap we're in right now. This is being stuck in the birth canal, where it's like looking at the truths makes you feel really, really shitty inside. And then you're pulled back down into the lower vibrations, right? And yet if you don't look at the truth, you can never break free into a new level of that permission for who you are and your consciousness and your light, So this is all like so on the table right now, very powerful with Sun Uranus conjunction, just as we're moving into a month-long, Venus square Neptune. Now, Venus will square Neptune for the third and final time at the end of July. So this is it's quite a chapter we're in. And I think that's partly why it's so hard, because it's like we can feel the lower matrix dismantling. We can feel permission for higher vibrational frequencies. And yet the soup of this push-pull of humanity not wanting to face the truth of how we've been lied to. And yet we cannot go any further without it. But you can. You don't have to wait for them. You can be in that power of your pure consciousness right now, So that's the Sun Uranus energy now. We're going to be feeling this because Mercury is moving into Taurus today. Okay. And so that means that Mercury and the Sun will come up in a conjunction right at the time when the nodes shift. So this is a huge and powerful message for us, okay? Mercury and the Sun, the last time Mercury and the Sun came together was during that Saturn-Pluto conjunction in January. And we know this is a fallout from that. I mean, pretty much I'm looking at 2020 as like, it's fallout. It's like it's just, I don't know, like, can we go hibernate for the rest of the year? No, 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 because it's your time. It's your time to shine. And that's what this Uranus is about. So we got to take advantage of this energy over these next couple of days, because Mercury and Uranus are coming into a conjunction. That's right on the 1st of May, right here this weekend. And then Mercury and the Sun come together on the 5th exactly. And so this is Mercury is our conceptual reality. It's the ruler of Gemini, right? So very important. And then the Sun Uranus is like, who do you think you are? You know, like, this is these energies of how they have worked against you to deplete you, and very deliberately deplete you, beat you down into deep, dark places of self-worth. So you'll take any crumb you can get. And then every relationship is about controlling you. And so then, okay, we've got to face some harsh realizations. Then the message, the Capricorn energy, the chains we're trying to break through with the authority energies is like, that's all that. If you don't take this half-ass crumb of manipulative love, then you can't have love, right? That's a Cancer Capricorn axis. It's like where we give our power away to try to get what we need. But if you're going to go in and be that pure source energy, the consciousness that you are, that you know the power of, because you are that, right? You just bought into the lies. And it's like, so then it's like, I don't need this garbage love. Like, I've got my own source, right? But see, then when we deal with this garbage love, we have deep, dark feelings of, pathological loneliness we have to deal with the aftermath. Often the relationship itself could be abusive and you don't even know, but it's really the aftermath of the relationship where they go in and they take from you, and these are people that don't have a connection to their own source. And this is where you have to be like, oh, this is validating who I am in the power of my consciousness. And I made it through all this and I still have a connection to my source. I still have empathy. I still have sensitivity. You are a superhuman to have made it through, not susceptible to the mind control, right? And it's like, we've got to start celebrating this and start going and enjoying our own. So that takes a period of time where you completely isolate. And this is where we have to take advantage of the current situation and go within and start to find permission. This Uranus and Taurus is the self-permission, your self-worth for your own light and your connection to consciousness, and go be with that and enjoy it. And of course, Mother Earth is right there wanting to support us. That's our best support right now, is Mother Earth is just so activating. She's so excited. She's just like, let's get this garbage off the planet. We already know we won. Let's go and be in that energy of our Eden star, like, let's just go be there. Why not now? Right? Like, and so this is where we're at. We're going back and forth with the delusions, the darkness, the lies, the defeat, they want you to feel hopeless and like you can never win against this enemy. But when you tap into that pure consciousness that you have access to, it's so much more powerful. But it's going to take some time for the unraveling of the lies, and humanity, they get to have their own, they get to be where they're at. That's a hard one for me. But remember, we're working from the future, right? And so can we go be in that energy together and celebrate? So let's stay connected and hang in there, because we're just getting pulled every which way. These energies of Venus and Gemini, North Node moving into Gemini, and the square with Neptune, they're mutable signs, right? Mutable signs are all over the place. It's like adjusting. Sometimes you adjust so much, you just don't even know who you are. And that's a normal feeling for right now, because then what this Sun Uranus is speaking to. Don't forget, like, everything has been trying to get you to forget, and you agreed, right, to take that serum to forget, except for that game over. The gig is up. And when you move into that pure consciousness just for a minute here and there as you can with Mother Earth, you are freeing humanity. So good work. Keep it up. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.